Imagine receiving a phone call on a sunny Wednesday afternoon, a call that changes everything you thought you knew about your own blood. My only son, a high-priced attorney I raised with every luxury imaginable, called me with the most animated voice I had heard from him in years. "Mom, I have incredible news. I'm marrying Vanessa tomorrow. We aren't waiting anymore. We're throwing a surprise party at the Leopoldina Club." I opened my mouth to congratulate him, to offer a mother's blessing, but he cut me off before I could speak a single word. "Oh, and one more little thing, Mom. I've transferred every cent from your bank accounts to mine. After all, I need to pay for this wedding and our honeymoon in Paris. And that luxury penthouse by the ocean, the one you love so much. I sold it this morning using that power of attorney you signed last year. The money is already in my account, and the new owners want you out in 30 days. Goodbye, Mom. Maybe we'll see each other again, or maybe not." He hung up before I could breathe. I stood in the middle of my silent living room staring at the vast blue horizon of the Atlantic Ocean. Any other mother would have collapsed. They would have screamed, cried, or called the police in a panic. But me? I started to laugh. I laughed so hard, I had to sit on the sofa so I wouldn't fall. I laughed because my brilliant son, the master of law, had just committed the most spectacular error of his life. He thought he had left me destitute, but he had no idea that my home hid a legal secret I had prepared 10 years ago, specifically for a day just like this. To understand why I laughed at my own son's betrayal, I need to take you back in time. My name is Clarice. I am 64 years old, and I built my wealth with blood, sweat, and calloused hands. My late husband Alberto and I started with a tiny, humble bakery in the countryside. We worked from Sunday to Sunday, no vacations, no holidays, smelling of flour and hard work for 4 decades. That one bakery became 2, then a chain, then a massive supermarket empire. When Alberto passed away 12 years ago, I liquidated the operations and invested everything into high-end real estate and financial portfolios. I wanted to rest. I wanted to travel. But above all, I wanted to guarantee the future of my only son, Tiago. Tiago was always intelligent, handsome, and charismatic, but he had a fatal flaw. He worshipped the path of least resistance. He graduated from law school not because he loved justice, but because he loved the status it brought. He wanted the $3,000 Italian suits, the imported sports cars, and the prestige of a corner office. But he didn't want the long nights of actual legal work. I was blinded by motherly love. I paid for his office rent, I traded his car every year for the newest model, and I quietly covered his credit card bills whenever they accidentally hit the limit. I thought I was being a supportive mother. In reality, I was feeding a monster. The situation turned truly toxic 2 years ago when he met Vanessa. She was a digital influencer, beautiful, perfectly curated, and completely in love with my son's money. Or rather, my money. The first time she came to my home for dinner, she didn't look into my eyes. She appraised my paintings like an auctioneer. She touched my crystal chandeliers and glanced at my jewelry with a hunger that made my skin crawl. "Donna Clarice, this apartment must be worth a fortune," she said while sipping my most expensive vintage wine. "It seems far too large for just one person. Don't you think it's time to move somewhere more, compatible with your age?" I simply smiled and declined. But Tiago was enchanted by her greed. In the following months, the pressure became a constant noise. "Mom, you need to give me access to your accounts so I can help you manage things," he would say. "Mom, just sign this power of attorney so I can handle the boring bank bureaucracy for you, so you don't have to wait in lines." I refused. I deflected. Until 6 months ago, when a severe case of pneumonia left me hospitalized for 10 days. I was frail, burning with fever, and heavily sedated. Tiago was there every day, seemingly the perfect son. One afternoon, he brought some papers. It's just an authorization for the health insurance to release a procedure, Mom. Just sign here. Dazed and drugged on painkillers, I trusted my son. I signed. The moment I was discharged, his demeanor changed. He became cold, distant, and then came that fateful phone call. After he hung up the phone, I walked to my office and opened the safe hidden behind a classic landscape painting. Inside was my secret weapon. Tiago thought he was a shark, but he forgot that his mother had spent 40 years negotiating with suppliers, unions, and cutthroat bankers. 10 years ago, following the advice of my elite tax attorney, I made a move that would save my life. Clarice, he told me then, you have a massive estate and a single heir. To avoid probate issues and protect your assets, we are creating a family holding company. And so we did. Every single piece of real estate I own, including the very penthouse I was standing in, is not in my name as a natural person. They belong to Clarice Participations Limited. I am the lifetime administrator with absolute, total powers. Tiago? He holds shares in the company, yes, but they are non-voting shares with zero power of sale. Furthermore, there is a clause of inalienability and unpledgeability. This means that under no circumstances can any property be sold without my specific digital signature as the corporate head. And as for the money in the bank, the account Tiago had access to, the one he bragged about emptying, was my daily checking account. I kept about $40,000 there for monthly expenses. My real wealth, the heavy investments, and the millions in offshore portfolios are linked to the holding company accounts that he didn't even know existed. When he told me he sold the apartment, he didn't realize he had just committed a massive felony. He used a personal power of attorney to sell a corporate asset he didn't own. He likely took a massive down payment from a buyer, promising a deed he could never deliver. He had practiced estelionato, grand fraud. He sold something he didn't have the legal capacity to sell. I had two options. Option 1, call him, explain the error, and save him from prison. Option 2, let him learn the hardest lesson of his life. I remembered his cold voice on the phone. I remembered Vanessa's greedy eyes. I remembered him hovering over my hospital bed while I was drugged, waiting for my signature. I took a sip of my coffee and decided I would not save him. The next day, Thursday, was the wedding. I dressed as if I were going to war. My best navy blue silk gown, my finest pearls, and my hair perfectly set. I called my lawyer, Dr. Ricardo. Meet me at the Leopoldina Club at 8 p.m. Bring the police. I have a report of grand fraud, ideological forgery, and qualified theft against the groom. Ricardo tried to calm me down. Clarice, are you sure? He's your son. He'll leave his own wedding in handcuffs. I looked at myself in the mirror. He tried to leave me homeless and starving in my old age. He broke the contract of mother and son first. I arrived at the club. It was breathtaking. Thousands of white orchids, massive chandeliers, and servers pouring French champagne, all promised with the money he thought he had stolen from me. I walked into the ballroom with my head held high. When Tiago saw me, he turned pale. He was at the altar next to Vanessa. He rushed over to me, nervous. "Mom, what are you doing here? I told you I didn't want to see you. Are you here to make a scene?" I smiled, that sad smile of someone watching a car crash in slow motion. "No, my son. I'm here to give you your wedding gift." "Gift? You have nothing left. I took it all," he hissed. "Oh, Tiago," I whispered so only he could hear. "You took the spare change from the bakery. You don't even know where the real money is. And about the apartment, have you already handed over the keys?" He smirked. "Yes, the buyer gave me a $300,000 down payment this morning." I leaned in closer. "Then you are in deep trouble, Tiago. That apartment belongs to a family holding. Your personal power of attorney is worthless. You just sold a property you don't own. When the buyer tries to register that deed tomorrow, he will realize he's been scammed. And in this country, that's Article 171, grand fraud. Vanessa approached us, irritated. What is this old woman doing here, Tiago? Send her away, she's ruining the photos. I looked at her with genuine pity. Enjoy the party, dear, because the honeymoon is going to be in a holding cell. Suddenly, the heavy doors of the ballroom swung open. It wasn't the waiters with dinner. It was 2 court officials and 3 plainclothes detectives. The music died. The guests began to whisper. The police walked straight to the altar. Tiago Mendes? The detective asked. Yes. Tiago stammered. We have a warrant for your arrest for grand fraud, forgery of public documents, and theft by abuse of trust. The ballroom turned into chaos. Vanessa, realizing the money didn't exist, didn't cry for her groom. She had a hysterical fit of rage, screaming that she would be the laughing stock of the internet, and actually started hitting Tiago with her bouquet, screaming, "You idiot! You said the old lady was senile! You lied to me!" Tiago was led away in handcuffs in front of 300 elite guests, crying like a child, begging me to save him. "Mom, please, tell them it was a mistake. Tell them you gave me the apartment." I walked up to him one last time and touched his face. "I love you, Tiago, but I didn't give you anything. You made your choices. Now, you face the consequences." I stayed in that empty ballroom for a moment, looking at the 5-tier cake nobody would eat. My heart ached as a mother, but for the first time in years, I felt a massive weight lift off my shoulders. I had cut the rot out of my life. Tiago eventually received a 5-year sentence. I visit him once a month. At first he screamed that he hated me, but last week he was different, thinner, humbler. He sat behind the glass and asked if Vanessa ever visited. "No, my son," I told him. "She's already with someone else." He laughed, a bitter laugh. "I was so stupid, Mom." "Yes, you were, Tiago. You traded someone who truly loved you for someone who only loved what you could give." I returned to my penthouse, the one he tried to sell. I sit on my balcony with my wine and I look at the sea. Life is hard, my friends. Sometimes we have to be hard too, just to survive. Love for a child is infinite, but a bank account has a limit. Don't ever give the password to your future to anyone, because when greed enters through the door, gratitude jumps out the window. My name is Clarice, and I am the mother who had the last laugh.